Tonight we remember our friend and colleague Dennis Carlson. Dennis passed away last Friday at the age of 58 after his battle with pancreatic cancer. We remember him as a dedicated journalist with a passion .
Dennis Carlson was born in 1960 in San Francisco and grew up in Central and Northern California. He found Montana in 1983 when he moved to Bozeman to attend a small Bible school in Churchill. For most of his career, he worked in broadcasting. He was a DJ and reporter for KBOZ and then joined the Montana Television Network at Newswatch 26, Fox 7, and KBZK before taking a brief break. During his hiatus from broadcasting, he would enter public service as an elections clerk for Gallatin County and as a field representative for U.S. Senator Conrad Burns. Dennis returned to MTN in 2011, where he would anchor the KXLF newscast for Butte. Then, in 2014, he moved to Helena to report and anchor. Dennis is survived by his fiancée, Laura Boltz, his 2 children, Matthew and Renee, along with many other family members.
In the newsroom, Dennis was a fierce competitor and a dedicated storyteller, and someone always willing to help others. From the courtroom to the fire line, Dennis is remembered as a journalist who cared deeply about making our community a better place through sharing the stories of its people, even when that was telling his own story.
Dennis had a passion for some of the most important news beats: cops, courts, and fire. He was tough, but fair.
So we hit it off. What I liked about Dennis is he had a professional job to do. He did not let that carry on to where he showed favoritism. And sometimes that was kind of difficult for me because I wanted him to tell my side, but he told what the facts were as he saw them and what he had investigated.
He was a regular in Justice of the Peace Mike Swingley's court.
Dennis had a great sense of humor. He's one of the true nice people I've ever met. You know, I get to see a lot of people in here, and Dennis immediately struck me as being just a kind and decent, straightforward kind of person. I'm really going to miss having him in here.
If a wildfire broke out, Dennis always seemed among the first in the newsroom to know about it. He was a reporter that firefighters trusted to stay safe and convey accurate and timely information to the community.
He would get his story. He got the story about our training camp and what was going on. But we started to work together, and he would then participate in the training by interviewing these folks and asking them the tough questions at times and responding then with some, you know, here's a good way to address that, here's a good, he did a wonderful job in helping us to bring our young information officers along and firefighters as well.
And willing to help local law enforcement agencies through some of their toughest times. He volunteered his own time to help the Broadwater and Gallatin County Sheriff's Office share information following the fatal shooting of Broadwater County Deputy Mason Moore. And Dennis was willing to share his own health struggles. He was a type 2 diabetic and went through treatment for cancer following a 2004 diagnosis.
TC is the most common form of cancer found in men aged 15 to 35. In 2004, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. After an operation to remove a tumor and radiation therapy, I began my recovery.
Before battling cancer again this past year.
When Dennis wasn't lifting up members of the community, he was lifting us up in the newsroom. He was always willing to share his wit, humor, faith, and experience to make us better journalists and better people.
I think he'd like to be remembered as a man who worked very hard for people to be able to trust. They could. I think he wants to be remembered as a man who cared very dearly for his family and for his friends. And his job was more than just sitting at a TV desk or standing in front of a TV camera. The work he did, I know he wanted to make sure that it made a difference in the community as well. And Dennis Carlson did make a difference in our community.
You know, I think he'd like to be remembered as a faithful man, as a person who did his job to the best of his ability. One of the things that's on my kitchen table is a leather-bound daily devotional that he got for me, My Utmost for His Highest. And I suspect that that's what he'd like to be remembered as a faithful man.
And there were just so many times in the newsroom where he would put aside his work to make sure that everyone else was okay and that they were getting the things that they needed and that they felt okay and they were ready for deadline, even when his deadline was before mine. That's the type of person that Dennis was, just somebody so special to all of us who were lucky enough to know him.
His family will be receiving friends tomorrow, March 21st, from 4 until 7 p.m. at Rhett's Funeral Home. There's a celebration of life planned for Saturday the 23rd. That is in Bozeman at Grace Bible Church at 1 p.m. with a reception to follow in the Fellowship Hall. A difficult day for us all, of course, to say goodbye to Dennis, but very glad to be able to share what he accomplished.
Yeah, incredible guy to work with. As you can see, he was loved here at work. Yeah. He was loved at home. He was loved in the community, and we all do miss Dennis.
We do.
We all do miss him, and he left his impression on us, every single one of us, in his own way.
He would, and he wouldn't. He want us to be on time with our show, and
the show must go on, says Dennis from somewhere.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. So.